My name is Anya and I am back with my little rune presentation. Today we have the 11th rune of the Fudak and the 3rd rune of the 2nd Aetir. And today I talk about the rune Isa. Isa means ice. And I will of course explain it a bit. Its element it's the water, of course, and its deity it's the ice giant Ymir, and the Filja it's the ice bear. Its tree it's the elder, and the herbs are the henbane and the verbena, the verbene. So let's start with the rune. So with Isa we have the 3rd non-reversible rune. So and it's the 3rd rune. Yeah, I said that I think, but I like to repeat myself. So, and when you look at the rune, you can find this shape or the form almost at every rune. So what it stands for, it's the concentration on the essential, like the realization of one's own consciousness and value. And if we have too little of Isa, it leads to the typical or classical I'm worth nothing. And if we have too much Isa in us, it will lead us to the typical stiffened egoists that we can be, and that might cause even stomach ulcers. So as I mentioned, Isa is the ice rune, and it also represents an icicle. So yeah, and it's an elemental rune, of course. It is a rune of silence, reflection, clarity, self-control, and self-preservation. So what it tells us that this is the right moment to let everything rest. So if you pull that rune, of course. So as I said, if you pull the rune, it tells you it's time to let everything rest. That the time has not come yet to look at different situations, to new ones, that you still have something that you need to take care of. So since Isa is like an ice cube or an icicle, she can view our life like a magnifying glass and clarify our present situation. So, and maybe Isa even just wants to tell you, first finish this here before you fall into something new again, right? So, because this is what's important for you in this moment, if you draw the rune, of course. And you will know for yourself what situation is meant, of course, because you draw the rune, so only you can know. So let me explain it a bit more. The rune primarily represents aspects of rigidity, stagnation, like in the Edda. She represents the frost giant Ymir, because he is born of ice. And I will explain that too. So its meaning points to the primeval matter Nilfheim, the ice, from which the world Midgard was created with the fire, the primal energy. Like fire is the primal energy, right? So Isa is the ice world that flows from Nilfheim. In this sense, the rune, in contrast to the very nature of ice, has an aspect of mobility. Like ice represents the attraction, gravity, and entropy in the multiverse. Ice is an element rune. Isa, I mean, sorry. So, and like I said, you can find it, you can recognize it in almost every other rune. So, on the one hand, it symbolizes a state of absolute solidification. So, as for the water molecules in frozen water, there is no movement in Isa, right? Like frozen water doesn't move. So everything stops and it's stable. And on the other hand, however, the transformation from water to ice also has the power to break all, like physically, I would say, like restrictive influences. Isa is in a contrast to the state of total mobility expressed in Kinas, which is the fire, right? So it's a totally opposite. The process of constant change, they will pause for a moment. So to gather new strength and then blow away all the constricting influences in your life. So therefore the rune stands for elimination of treachery, deception, and betrayal. So also Isa is helpful for destructive blockages, and we all have them, right? Like laziness, stagnation, sometimes. And I'm not talking of being lazy like I don't want to go grocery shopping today. I'm talking of mental laziness to approach things. When you stagnate, like I mentioned, you're just stuck in something and you really do not feel like getting there. You're like, yeah, it was there all my life. Why would I deal with it now? So, so it's either that you are like I said, caught in a situation, you're frozen, and you're not moving, so it helps you to move on, or it will freeze you if you like having 10,000 things going on, but just that one situation is so important for you in your life that you really need to focus on, because before you don't focus on that situation, everything else is like not useless, but you will not be able to approach the other issues if you do not approach this issue, if I make any sense. So and we all have been there, right? Or are in there. So you can use also, like from my experience, Isa, like for that point, as a meditation rune to really focus, to concentrate on that issue. So that maybe like if you get easily distracted during meditation, that you really just focus on that Isa rune. So like maybe just visualize it in your head so you can better focus. But that's just my own experience. I didn't read that anywhere, so this is just from my experience, okay? So, and therefore, of course, you can, the magical aspects of that rune, that you can use it in magical ways, on You know, even meditation is magical, right? Because we work with energy. If we visualize, it's magic because we work with energies. If we're healing ourselves, again, it's magic. We work with energies. You get my point, yeah? So you can use, yeah, like I said before, you can either use it to stop a process, right? Or it increases your own concentration or willpower to move on for something. And also, I want to be careful with it. With the power of Isa, you can travel between the realms easily. And which can be useful for magical work or healing work. And it supports the visual. It helps support to visualize in a creative way. So it should be used in the beginning of a ritual, right? Or at the meditation, as I like to use it for. Yeah, also, if you have negative experience with entities, it can give you the power over these entities. It will freeze them. So, but I want to throw in here, which has nothing to do with the rune, 90% of what we experience, it's coming from ourselves, okay? So please don't think you're being constantly magically attacked by other people, or that someone is sending constantly bad thoughts your way. So before you go there, always look inside yourself first, because a lot of what is going on, it's coming from us. So just throwing that in there. But anyways, however, you can use this rune to gain power over entities and freeze them, banish them. So also Isa is used to in curses, like to get entities along with Surias. It really just does not have negative aspects, right? It sounds, oh yeah, I'm freezing, I'm not moving forward, but again, just listen. Where was I? My brain is frozen now. Yeah, sometimes we get blocked also by external influences. So you can use Isa as a protection for that. So, or like I said, you find it in other runes, so it's a wonderful binding rune, but you have to know what you do, right, before you start doing binding runes. So Isa helps to self-integrate within a universe, our universe. So, and again, it gives power over other entities. So, but again, before you freak out and think you're constantly attacked or harassed or cursed, most of it's inside yourself. So if you use the rune during the increasing moon, it can help you, like, to reflect. And if the moon is decreasing, blockages can be solved very well with this rune. So, and of course we have the healing aspects of the rune, right? So you can see Isa as a constructive silence. So it will give you calmness, patience, the development of willpower and concentration, which is very important. So as I said, Isa is also a blockage breaking rune. So she is responsible for the frostbite. Like, you know, I like to say it bites you in the ass sometimes. So, and I mean with frostbite, like on a physical and sensitivity, and paralyzes. So it paralyzes you, but just for your good, to step back for a moment. And it's also responsible for reviving frozen life forces. So it also fights hyperactivity acts, and it's also really a therapeutic how is that word, immobilizer. So like I said, laziness, stagnation, you know, like I mentioned before. So if you don't really want to face your issues. So, and her key is a healthy rest, right? Learn to see the danger in the beauty of the ice. So, and ice looks beautiful, right? And we all know it can also be danger. If we walk on a frozen river, we know we do not know for sure if it's really solid, like it can break easily. So this is what I mean with the frozen, the danger in the beauty of the ice. So, so sometimes one freezes to gather and to find oneself and to strengthen oneself. But again, do not stay too long in this stagnation, because then your mind starts freezing and then you end up in the circle of laziness again. So, but the rune will help you balance. So again, and I like to mention that again, that this is not a reading. I'm just explaining the rune, what I think is important to know. So this is, I mean, if the shoe fits right now, it fits, right? And I had that last week with a friend, so that was actually pretty funny. That's why I think I'm mentioning that again. Yeah, so is it you are pulling the rune, or is it maybe even you know it's a time and you want to work with this rune? Okay. So then, of course, we have a little mythology, because it all goes back to the Edda. So the mythology of this rune, like, is in modern mythology, fire is male and ice, the water or earth as a matter, is female. But it's not really proven if it was the case in Nordic cultures, so I can't really sign this. So, but ice was certainly a daily factor in the lives of people in Scandinavia, right? It was threatening their harvest, their ships, and their lives. So Isa represents a moment of retrospective, the calm before the phase of activity. So if you know what I mean. So it freezes you, but then it will melt again, right? And again, if you stay too long in this stagnation, life will continue without you, you know, and you will be frozen in your current state. And I'm not saying like you're lying frozen on your bed and don't move, but you will miss a lot in your life. You know, you will miss the joy, the fun, everything that makes you happy, the laughter, like. So and only the balance can restore the movement of life, and this is where we're back in the balance that I'm always preaching about. So, and in this case, it's a fire that has to come back. So it is not for nothing that Isa often dates back to the time of the summer solstice fires. So in the mythology, the rune power corresponded to the forces of the ice giant, right, as I mentioned, and I'm explaining that ice giant in a bit. So Isa is the silence, the absence of any vibration. Fire and ice are the forces that created the world, but it is these forces that can will and put an end to any existence if we don't watch it, right? So fire and ice keep each other in balance, and both of them the extreme, and they can have fatal consequences if it works without the control of the other. So they need each other, right? The fire controls the ice controls the fire. So the habitable world arose between the extremes of Nilfheim and Muspelheim through mutual weakening, the control. Here the forces balance each other out, if you listen to what I said in the beginning. So, and now I'm coming to Ymir, the ice giant. And again, I cannot get in all of the mythology because, first of all, I'm not an Edda specialist. And, yeah, you really have to read it carefully. You actually really have to study it. It's really amazing. I used to have a big example, or a big, see, I should get a dictionary instead. I used to have the Edda, but now I just have a little sampler, so I don't have the complete, but I want to get it again. It's really interesting. But if you really want to get into the Edda itself, you should listen to Dr. Jackson Crawford. He's on YouTube too. That guy is really amazing. He really knows a lot, and he goes also into the symbolic of everything. So, and no, I don't know him personally. I'm not making commercial for him. I just find him very interesting. Like, he really knows his stuff. Like, he's a professor, so really interesting. So let me talk about Ymir. So Ymir was the first creature according to the Norse mythology through the Edda. As an ice giant, he came from the eternal ice in Ginnungagap. I can't even say those words. So, but he was evil and at first brought forth all the other ice giants, and it said from the sweat of his armpit. He fed on the milk of the primitive cow Audumbla that Buri had released from the ice. Okay, I'm throwing that at you and you have no idea what I'm talking about. But this is just a part. I just want to get into the ice thing a bit. So, and kind of reminds me of the ice age we had in the beginnings. So that's why I find the symbolic behind it so interesting. So Ymir is a primitive creature and a prehistoric giant. So the first created, he was called. And supposedly he was six-headed, and he emerged from the melting ice and ripeness of Ginnungagap as the cold waters of the north mingled with the fire of Muspel. So here, right, the balance, but he was a little too much ice. I'm getting to that. Sutra, the fire giant, also one of the first creatures of all, flung fire into the ice with his flaming sword. The fire melted the ice, and the icy droplets formed the mighty Ymir. Therefore, the giants are called, I can't say that word, Himthudar. Ymir was nourished by the milk of the original cow, Audumblia. Since Ymir was very evil and the horde of giants was getting bigger, the gods Odin and his son Vili and Ve slew him. In the river of blood, everyone drowned like the blood of the giant, except for Belgemir and his wife. They threw him into the middle of Ginnungagap and thus formed the world out of his corpse, with heaven, earth, water, mountain, and forest. So, but I want to talk about the creation of the world based on the Edda in a different video because this would get too much. So, but what I'm trying to explain with that, even me not being able to pronounce those words, and I really apologize dearly. It shows the balance of the ice and the fire. So, and how they depend on each other. If I make any sense, I hope so. I'm not in the best shape today, I have to admit. So then we have the herbs going with it. So there is a henbane. I want to say from the very beginning, the henbane is very toxic, so don't muck around with it. The reason why I'm mentioning it, I'm getting into in a bit, but just from the very beginning, it's very toxic. No mucking around with it, please. So, in the old Germanic root of words, it was called Vel, Bhel, which means as much as fantasy or vision. So from the Celts, it was used for visions. So like I said, it's a very, very poisonous plant. So, and after an initial phase of being upset down to aggressive, it comes to deep sleep and you have very intensive dreams. So, and often there are like flight experience, out of body experiences, or sexual issues, or transplantation into, well, not transplantations. Holy shit, what's wrong with me today? I would say, transformations into other living beings, but of course, all in your mind. So, and also the Celts dedicated the henbane to the sun god Belenos. So, which therefore it's more like the fire, this plant, and even like well, let me continue here. So yeah, and it was also dedicated to Odin, but what I find interested even in the legend of the Greek Odysseus, it said that the Circe, those ladies that, you know, allured the guys, and that they changed them into pigs, if you're familiar with the legend, that they put henbane in their wine. So, and it's also said that this is the reason why Odysseus couldn't find his way back home, because it's robbed his memory with this drink, with the henbane. So, but again, that's just the myth about it, right? So, But what the henbane, it's a bridge in other reality. It's a teacher plant. So it opens up access to our inner images and the path to the other world. So which I find is helpful if you want to get out of the stagnation. But again, don't eat it, don't drink it. I personally smudge with it. I mean, I used to smudge because of course you cannot get it officially anywhere. Wink. So, but again, very rarely, because I don't do any other shit. Like seriously, like I'm being serious. I don't do anything. I can do my journeys without by now, but if you need help, like, you know what I mean. So yeah, I think I'll leave it here with for now. Yeah, I think that should be enough for now. I really don't want people really to muck around unless you have a smudging experience, and never smudge it inside. If you're able to get it and you want to smudge it, which I can recommend officially, if you know what I mean, do it outside always, okay? So, because it is a narcotic, so yeah. But again, the smoke has like a clairvoyant and predictive effect, so that's why I associated it with the rune. So it is still used in the homeopathic section for asthma and for rheumatic issues, or for nervousness and stomach issues, insomnia and all. But again, only as a homeopathic product, which you can get at your local whatever store. So they're also available in globalies. So, but again, only those products, right? Never like really use it from the plant, please. So as next, then we have the verbena, and that's the element earth. So for the druids, and I mentioned that before, it was very sacred, almost as much as the mistletoe. And in the Middle Ages, verbena was used almost on every potion, and it was considered the all-rounder for all kind of diseases. And also the verbena is also related very much to the fertility. Like you can carry it as an amulet, and I mentioned that before. I had a video about the verbena. So yeah, for women wanting children, it's always good to drink verbena tea. So that can help you become more fertile. But I'm going to the medical aspect in a bit. So it said if you put verbena in water and sprinkle the house with this water, so this will makes everyone who will enter the house very happy, and it will put him in a good spirit. So yeah, it's like a blessing, right? So and like I said, it contains flavonoids and certain kind of hormones that stimulate the production of the hormones that you need to, if you want to have children. So for it helps you process during your ovulation a bit. For the ladies wanting children. So yeah, and it's good. Like, you can't do anything wrong with verbena really, or drink too much of it. So also it has a very balancing and strengthening effect. So like, and that's now about the spirit of the plant. It makes it easier to find the central point of your life, right? Which we need, where Isa leads us to. So, and it helps us to access to the other world, and like I said, the center of yourself. So, and it also really strengthens the whole body. Like, it helps the muscle with the necessary strength return. So also the spirit of this plant teaches us tolerance to other points of view. So it helps you to become open to new ideas and thoughts, and if you have difficulties in changing, like your own conviction. So if one is taught otherwise, so it promotes your courage and creates to start something new, right? Which works along very well with Isa. So it helps the whole process, if you choose Isa to work on yourself, of course. So and also, like I said, it was a very magical plant to the Druids, so it gives us protection against negative things. You can also smudge your house with it for protection very well. Especially if you have a lot of nightmares, you might want to smudge your bedroom with verbena. Like, it really helps. So yeah, and it really smells like like tree, like in autumn. Like, when you go outside and you smell the leaves, the tree, this is how it smells when you burn it. Really nice. So, and then I understand why it was used as the all-rounder medicine, because it truly is. I'm just mentioning a few because, like I said, I had a video about it. So it's good for cough, for colds, stimulating, antibacterial. It's a blood purifier, anti-inflammatory. What else? Sore throat, fever. If you have tummy issues like digestion issues, liver weakness, rheumatism, gout. It's blood thinning. So yeah, I have to throw that in. It's blood thinning. So if you're taking any heart medication where you have a blood thinner already, I wouldn't recommend that. So also for anemia, it's good. What else? It's got so much. Kidney stones, bladder stones. Yeah, like I said, for the female, it will promote your period, your menstruation, and it regulates your cycle a bit. And also for the ladies, breastfeeding, if you have issues breastfeeding, it will promote the milk flow. For menopause issue, if you're nervous, for migraine. Also external, you can use the tea. If you soak a cloth in a tea or in a tincture, it's good for wounds, for skin infection, eczemas, ulcers, or even for light burns. Like, I like to do that. I like to check my water before I do dishes if it's really hot, and stuff like that. I'm very good with that. I hope you hear my sarcasm in it. So, and all kinds of bruises. So it's really an all-rounder. Really nice. And I got so much more. But like I said, I don't want to, like, you know, repeat myself too much. But that's the main thing you can use it. So actually just throw it in a pot of tea and drink it, you know. It's really... And there's also the lemon verbena. It's a different kind, but it still has the same... it will still do the same for you. And it tastes a little better. So then we have the elder tree. Also about this tree I talked before, but it works well with Isa, so I want to mention it again a bit. So the elder is the spirit of the other world and the seed of the souls, as we say. So what the spirit of this tree will help you, it sharpens the mind and it supports the understanding and the knowledge of a situation or context. So it clarifies the perception on all levels. And it also gives you, it gives you the power to transcend our limited psychic patterns, you know. And we all have them. They're all there, but we can't see them yet. So some can see more, some can see less, but it will come because you have it all inside you. So it just, you know, it helps you to get that higher knowledge. So yeah, it will help you to point out the issues, you know, in your life. So you regain the power back to your life, or the protection, or it helps you to defense. And it helps you to balance yourself out again. So like say if you have mood swings or anxiety, or if you're nervous or constantly stressed, then the spirit of the elder is the right one for you. So also I'm like that. I'm like, again, I like to set myself an example so no one thinks like, all she does is talk. No, I don't. Like, I really experience shit myself, like, because I'm still human and I really don't know it all. I just share my experiences and what I know. So, but I don't know it all, right? So I seriously don't. So, and I have no problem admitting it either. So where I was going is, like, if you're one of these people that takes everything to heart, you know, and I like to do that constantly, that makes it hard for you to differentiate some things, to make the difference. I don't know why I'm always picking the words. I can't freaking speak. So you take something to heart, right? Like, someone is in a bad mood. Let's say someone is in a bad mood. Perfect example, because I am the one. Someone is in a bad mood, and I'm thinking right away, what did I do? Even though that person is not in a bad mood because of me, but that's my first thought. And then I don't see the truth. Like, I can't make the difference in that situation. Like, I keep stuck, you know, and that makes it hard for me to see why this person is actually in a bad mood. And maybe this person is in a bad mood because no one fucking listens to him, right? And I just threw the F-bomb, so that goes in a jar, $1. I mean, I got much better with it, so I'm still working on it, but that's just an example. So also the elder helps you to withdraw from an event, like what I just mentioned, for example, or to distance yourself from people that are not good for you and to make clear decision. without being influenced by disturbing feelings like the insecurity that we get, or fear and doubt. It's like, if I put my foot down, this person will be mad and will not talk to me. If I say no, they don't like me anymore. So if you're a person that's constantly having that thought and can't really speak up or go your own life because you're constantly blocked by that, then the elder is the right tree for you. So what you can do, you can ask the elder when you have one around, to provide you with a steady dose of its medicine. So to strengthen your shield, to provide you confidence. So, and this is actually for every tree. Never just go and pull the energy or draw the energy. Ask the spirit of the tree to provide you with the right amount, because the spirit of the tree will feel what you need, right? So it will provide you with the right amount so you won't get an overload. And I think I mentioned that before. So then we have the ice bear. So of course it's the ice bear, right? Since Isa is the ice rune. So as a power animal, the polar bear like he has a strong resistance, and he survives even in an environment, that is very icy, I would say, and cold. So the polar bear as a forest animal, the ice bear, polar bear, whatever you want to call it, he knows not only how to protect against cold temperatures with a thick fur, but also knows how to get his own warmth. So what this means for you, he will protect you from coldness surrounding you, from feelings of cold, of emptiness. Sometimes you feel empty and this feels cold too. So he will show you how you bring back the warmth in your heart to melt that ice in there. So, like an emotional ice age, if I make any sense. So from the ice bear, you can learn to master your emotions and to keep a cool head, even in difficult situations. So, but he can also provide you with a warmth around your heart, like I just mentioned. And but he can also warn you, right? He can warn you like he can warn you about your inner coldness if you're really cold. And with cold I mean emotionless, like you just don't give a flying F anymore about things. You're just giving up. It's just like, why would I care? And I'm not meaning in a negative way that I'm meaning in form of, it's just, we block out every feeling, not to get hurt, we just freeze our heart. We just don't want to get hurt anymore. And we just don't want to deal with things anymore because we think we can't change them, yet we have not really faced them. So what the ice bear does for you, he will warn you. So because he will not freeze from the inside, he is protected, right? He has his fur, so which we can present his fur as our skin. You just need to get a thicker skin, but yet we can feel with the skin, right? Like it's not death, so we still let things to us and our skin will filter them. our emotions will filter them, like we deal with those situations. I have no better way to explain that. I am sorry. So yeah, he just, he will guide you. He will show you the way how you can survive. How you can survive in a situation that, makes you sad, that makes you stagnate, that makes your heart freeze. So yeah, and that's like, for me, that's why the ice bear is also a little bit for me personal, and I don't want everybody to freak out. What the hell is she talking about? That's not true. For me personally, he's also there for a little bit the element of fire, because of the warmth that he's giving us, our heart to melt the ice around it. So that is why he has a little element of fire for me, and that's why I like him, because he is the balance of the fire and the ice again. But those are just my personal 2 cents. So yeah, like I said, a lot of messages if you pulled the rune. Again, it's about work, but the whole second Aetia is about worky. And again, if you draw the rune, if you pulled the rune in the reading, scan yourself a bit, check where you closed up, where you literally froze, where you don't want to deal with. Think about what is blocking you. Think about what maybe where you became a little lazy, stagnant, where your emotions froze up. See which situation is, if you have many issues to deal with, see what is important for you right now to deal with. And Isa will help you. And as a support, you have the elder tree, you have the verbena, and the ice bear, of course. So the Philgia of the ice bear, which is different than the shamanic spirit animal, but I mentioned that before. I just want to explain the difference again here. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and that you can do something with it. And I'm trying it again next time to come live, but something came up tonight and that was very important. And so then it got all a little late, and that's why I'm recording it now, because I don't want no one to miss anything out, for the ones that are interested in it, of course. And I know I don't sound like a professional rune professor or whatever, but then again, I don't give a crap, because that is just me, and that's what you get. So yeah, I don't do intergalactical super duper language, so just throwing that in there. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, it would be nice to leave me a comment what you think, or if you can do anything with this information, or if you liked it, or if you didn't like it. And I'm sure I'm gonna get my thumb downer again, but at least I get my view. Okay, wherever you are, I'm wishing you a good night, a good morning, a good evening. Much love to you all, and blessed be. Bye bye.